What is up, RotoBallers? This is Pierre, aka the Roto Chef, here to help you with your lineup decisions for Week 16 of the fantasy football season, otherwise known as the semifinals of the playoffs for a lot of you. Hopefully, you're still in to win it in multiple leagues. Let's look at some of the wide receivers that I think are must starts and some that should be sat in this all important week. Look, COVID is still running rampant, especially across specific teams, and so it's going to affect your lineup decisions. There's guys that you never thought would be viable in fantasy, and you're going to find them in your lineups at the most important time. But let's look at some guys that I think you shouldn't have to worry about, at least right now. And let's start with Jamar Chase. Now, you might be worried about the fact that he only caught one pass for 3 yards last week. That is concerning. This is a guy that was lighting it on fire the first half of the season and has been just so up and down since then. Cincinnati has been an interesting offense. They keep doing the smart thing and adjusting. They're not just running the same offense out there. Look, it was all about chasing the deep ball early in the season, and then all of a sudden we saw it was mixing time. They were running him almost into the ground, and it worked. And then now all of a sudden we've seen them back off a little bit in the running game. We've seen other guys get involved. T. Higgins was becoming a target hog. And then last week it was Tyler Boyd. So how can we trust anybody really on this offense, specifically Chase, who basically is all or nothing here, right? Because last week, 3 yards, but the week before that, he had 77 yards and 2 touchdowns. Flip a coin? No. Look at the matchup. Okay, so here's the thing. It's easy to just say, well, he's a good player, start your studs. That's not how it works, okay? Let's look at what are they going to do in this matchup. We know Mixon is banged up. He's probably going to play. It sounds like it at least because of his ankle injury. It's limiting him in practice, but it does sound like he'll play. But against Baltimore, talked about this last week too. They've become a funnel defense. They're going to stop the run, and they are definitely vulnerable to the pass. We know Marlon Humphrey is out, and we see basically everybody in their secondary has been affected in some way by injury or COVID. And so there is a great chance for Chase to make a play down the field. I do think that Cincinnati is going to try to throw the ball and expose that secondary. Yeah, it's risky, but still, going against a defense that has allowed the second most fantasy points per game to wide receivers over the last 8, it's a great spot. You have to roll with him. There's a lot of safer options out there, but this isn't the time to play it safe. You have a guy with this kind of potential in this matchup, you've got to roll him out there. Amon-Ra St. Brown, is he really a must start going against somebody in Detroit? I mean, that's the thing. With Detroit, do you really trust that offense just because they've won the last couple of times out? Well, you know what? Going against Atlanta, that's who they're going against. That's a team that you definitely want to stream against because they've allowed the 4th most fantasy points per game to wide receivers over the last half of the season. Atlanta, definitely a good spot for him. But here's the thing with St. Brown, he is the guy to count on in that offense. He has become a target hog in that sense. 8 receptions for 3 straight games. And TJ Hawkinson is still out. That's the thing. As long as he is gone, St. Brown, playing mainly in the slot, is going to continue to be targeted a ton. Now, it is something to watch out for. The fact that Jared Goff was on the COVID list early in the week. We'll see if he clears it in time. But honestly, even if it's Tim Boyle or Mike White or whoever they have at quarterback, I think you almost have to roll with St. Brown based on the matchup and the fact that he is getting so much attention. So I feel comfortable with him at least having a solid floor in this matchup. So I'm going to go ahead and call him a must start. I'm going to say the same about Odell Beckham, kind of the same category as Chase we talked about earlier. Boom bust. We know what he can do. We know the offense he's in is high scoring for the most part. Well, again, to me, it's all about the matchup. And so against Minnesota, it's kind of like with a running back against the Jets. You just don't care who it is. You have to roll them out there. That's how bad Minnesota's secondary has been. Look, one of their starting cornerbacks, Rashad Breeland, just got released because whatever happened on the field, some altercation with coaches and practice, he's been bad, and so now he's gone. Mackenzie Alexander, who's also going to probably take his place at cornerback, he's been worse. Okay, he's been the 2nd lowest graded cornerback out of every corner that PFF rates. And Cam Dantzler, he's been their best cornerback. Right, their best coverage corner, he ranks 49th among all corners in coverage grade. All right, that's their best guy. Patrick Peterson hasn't quite played enough. We know he's not the same Patrick Peterson. This secondary is just bad. It's really bad, and they have given up the second most fantasy points to wide receivers. This is such a great matchup for any passing attack. Now we talk about the Rams. We know Cooper Kupp, what he's going to do, but Odell Beckham, this is a time to roll him out. As long as the Vikings can kind of keep competitive and put up points on the Rams to keep it close enough, I think Beckham could finally find his way back to the end zone and have a big game. Chase Claypool, opposite situation here. This is a guy, it seems like he's in the doghouse because last week he was barely involved, only got targeted twice, didn't catch a ball. Maybe the whole first down thing did come back to bite him. Who knows what it is, but this is an offense that has just looked bad, almost as bad as their defense the last few weeks. And Claypool is a guy that has always been boom bust, but this year it's been a lot more bust. And based on what's happening as far as his target share, look, James Washington was getting a lot more targets than him. It was intentional. So maybe he'll bounce back, sure. But against Kansas City, I don't think it's going to be very good day on offense for Pittsburgh. I'm not going to say they're all of a sudden an elite defense, but they have definitely been better. They've at least gotten themselves to the middle of the road, 14th in terms of pass defense. Kansas City does have a pair of good corners. I think they can keep Claypool out of the end zone for sure. He's definitely not a guy I want to trust my fantasy life with. And then Devonta Smith, I mean, is it a rookie wall? Is it the offensive philosophy? Is it Jalen Hurts? It could be a combination of all of them, but whatever the case is, he hasn't gone over 10 fantasy points in PPR leagues since week 10. All right, so he seems to have maybe hit sort of a wall, but also the fact that Philadelphia is just run first, run second, run third offense. Smith is a wide receiver one there, but it doesn't really matter because they're just not passing it enough. And you'd think that facing the Giants would be a good opportunity for him to do something. But let's not forget that a couple of weeks ago, they just faced the Giants, and that was one of Jalen Hurts' worst games. He got intercepted 3 times, and Devonta Smith only had 2 catches for 22 yards against the Giants. So just all those things combined, it makes you worry that Smith has such a low floor. Again, he's a guy, kind of like Claypool, he could always bust for a big play. It just has not happened yet. There's too much risk here in this particular matchup, even though you'd think it'd be good. It's not, so you're going to have to bench Smith. All right, so those are some of my favorite picks for wide receiver at Week 16. Let us know what you think. Of course, follow RotoBaller all week and weekend long for the latest news to help you set those winning lineups. All right, guys, thanks for watching.